Well, good morning, guys. Haven't done anything here for a few days, been busy with other stuff, and today we're busy too. We're doing some overarm lock knobs for on the milling machine and some of the smaller knobs that go on the tailstock of the Atlas 6-inch lathe. I believe that's the same tailstock lock or the same lock that's used on the milling machine index center tailstock, and I believe also the shaper index setup. So anyway, and we're working on our what will be our new office. So I've been trying to get things arranged, although we've got a disaster area there. But I thought we'd do a little Fleabay edition here to see what's out there. Excuse me. And I've looked at this over the last several days. There's been a few things, but nothing that intrigued me that much. But let's do a quick little update. Atlas Shaper. We have some brand new listings for a Atlas 7B Shaper grease cup and caps. Now this is almost a little misleading, and this is from one of our normal sellers that does all this fancy stuff. $24.99 and $4.99 shipping. If it was both grease cups and caps, that would be probably a not a good buy, but a almost fair buy. As it is, all it is one of the bases and two of the caps. And when you look at the pictures, you don't really realize it until you see the second cap here. And what the description reads is nothing. Atlas 7B Shaper grease cup and caps. Condition is used. And when we look at these, like I say, this is from one of our normal sellers. And we'll just look at these two. Let's see if we got let's just look at the bigger pictures here. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time. You can go back and look at these if you want. These have been polished down one way or another, probably wire brushed from the looks of them. And when we look at this first cap right here in this area, every one of them I've ever seen has had a little bit of a knurling. And if we look at this second cap, it's got this little, I guess they're serrations on there. Every one I've ever seen has that. Atlas did these both in brass and in evidently a steel type of thing, and they machined these. The ones that were brass were plated. But apparently these are steel ones. It looks to me like this has just been polished off, and these are both beat to crap. These are nothing, $24.99 is too much for both of these. Like I say, if you were getting both complete assemblies, $24.99 would probably be fair. The way these sit right here, half of that, 15 bucks maybe, and then shipping is probably a little high, $12.50, and shipping is, and the $5 shipping is probably a fair price for those. So normal thing, worth half. We look at a lot of this stuff, they're worth half of what they think they are. Same seller has a 1080 countershaft pulley that fits the Shaper and the 1012-inch Atlas Craftsman lathe, $54.99 and $10 shipping. Too much money. This pulley looks okay. I won't read the description. I think it's just a basic description. It's been cleaned up too. I mean, it's an okay pulley. It's functional. It's worth 35 bucks in shipping. 35 bucks and $10 shipping is all they're worth. This one's been around a long time. I believe this is an earlier pulley, and I believe the earlier pulleys had the ejection pins built in like this. When you look at some of the newer manufactured stuff that Atlas has put out for these, they had a little bit different design on the back. And when we look in here, why, this has been beat on. This has been probably trying to get it off. It's probably had a punch put on there and tried to be driven out of there. No great shakes. It's worth half. It's worth 35 bucks and shipping. 35 bucks and $10 shipping. Yeah, you can see this is all rolled in down here. Pulley looks okay. Looks like a little dink here on the outer edge on this one. Nothing that's going to affect function. It's going to function fine. It's not a bad looking pulley, but it's not worth, what, 70 bucks, 65 bucks, whatever they've got on it. It was on here pretty tight, and then they polished it out a little bit to try and get it. You can see the radial polish marks. Those were put on after it was pulled off there to try and hide these striations where it was seized on the motor shaft, which is fairly common. Anyway, move on. Don't see anything new. We still got these overpriced original cast iron guard and oil pan for the 7-inch Shaper, and right below it's the large guard. They want $375 and 25 shipping, and then $349 and 25 shipping for the larger one. We talked about this one before. It's not worth nearly this much money. I think the last video I put out was just on these two guards, or especially on this guard here. I did get a offer from the seller. I think it was $10 off or something still. You know, it's almost insulting. I don't know why we'd even, you know, don't bother sending me an offer on a 3 times overpriced part for $10 off. That's just, I consider an insult. Atlas Shapers, original Atlas Craftsman 10-12 inch lathe motor switch plate, pre-owned, $18 and $3.25 shipping. This is a piece of crap plate that should be worth 10 bucks. They're worth half. They're literally worth half. This is actually that same seller. You know, you're not getting anything. Here's the tape marks where it was taped on, all the paint's pulling off of it. Piece of junk. It's worth 10 bucks if you have to have an original one. No more than that. Oh, there's a couple more here that I hadn't bothered to look at that closely here. One of them that I did look at, and this is from one of our sellers that sells a bunch of new and used stuff and is always overpriced. Atlas milling machine and Atlas 6-inch lathe milling cutter holder assortment, 4 pieces, $99.99 and $10.25 shipping or free pickup. But $10.25 shipping for most of those. 4-piece assortment of number 2 Morris taper shank end mill holders, one 1/2 inch, one 3/8 inch, one 1/2 inch with 3/8 bushings, and one 3/4 with 1 10 threads to mount directly on the spindle threads. Only one picture, one big picture here. You've got 3 number 2 Morris taper end mill holders, which they aren't, you know, they're not a match set. Some of these are going to be reproductions. That looks like this one and this one are probably both Chinese imports. This one's, you know, it's got the cutout on it or may have something written on it. You know, who knows whose manufacturer these are. And then this one, now this adapter, it's got a 3/4 inch end mill in it that's going to be beat to crap. It's wore out. If you look at the pictures closer, you can see this edge is rolled over. This thing's dull as can be. And it's in a holder that, yes, threads on. I believe this is probably a homemade holder. I don't believe it's an Atlas holder. I'm unaware of Atlas building one of these attachments. I could be mistaken, but it's one I'm not aware of. And on a 6-inch lathe, especially a 3/4 inch cutter's way overdoing it. Even on a 10-inch lathe, why that's that 3/4 inch mill cutter's quite a stretch. Now, we actually just finished talking here 1 or 2 videos ago about these end mill holders. You know, you're going to get some good ones by buying used ones like this, but who knows the actual condition of them. Once you get to playing with them, they're going to be functional. But by the same token, to give $100 for this pile of junk, I looked it up the other day. You can go to Shar's Tool. They had number 2 Morris taper end mill shanks in stock. They were 20 bucks a piece, 20, 21 bucks, something like that. I mean, they were inexpensive. And yes, they're an imported end mill holder. You know what, functionality wise and probably accuracy wise, they're going to be right on par with anything used and original as far as an end mill holder. So those don't concern me to buy imports at all. I don't like imports, of course. I would rather have USA made, but you know, I don't believe, at least 2 of these, I don't believe they're USA made. Those look too kind of nice and shiny to be anything really worth having. Anyway, they're worth half. It's worth 50 bucks. They want 99, it's worth 50. Here is a Atlas milling machine M1 576 drawbar, fine used, $99.99, same seller. Let's see what it says here. Originally used Atlas milling machine M1 576 drawbar. I showed you how to build these. There was a video there back in the past sometime. If I think about it, I'll try and remember and link it for you. I believe this is probably an original one, although how do you know? How do you know? You can't tell the difference between this and a reproduction if a reproduction's, you know, done halfway properly. So it probably is original, you know, but how do you know? These are easy to build though, you know, and I've got these on the website. They're listed there. They're in stock, I believe, and they're less money than that. I don't remember what they are, but they're not $100. So why do you want to buy a rusted up piece of crap? Rusted up piece of crap. Used. Maybe it's worth half. Maybe in the market for what it is, it's worth half. You know. Well, let's go and look. let's go look. Let's see what the reproductions go for. What do we got in the store? I need to do something with this website. This is kind of an ugly website. 60 bucks. Atlas milling machine drawbar, M1 576, 60 bucks. So if we look at, yeah, mine are made out of stainless steel. So it's not going to be a rusted up piece of crap like we're trying to sell there. And depending on how I feel and what material I have available, yeah, now I'm making these the main body in 2 pieces, which originally, you know, these are turned out of a one piece of material. I've threaded these, inserted them, and then silver soldered them in place, so they're essentially going to be a one piece of material. Anyway, I digress. I get off on it. So I get off track on what we're talking about. So when we look at this one, they want 100 bucks for a used piece of junk. Junk. New one, you can get a new reproduction that functionally and appearance-wise is a whole lot better than this for 60 bucks. This should be worth 30 bucks. 30 bucks. There we go. Milling machine M18 arbor support bracket, excellent used. Same seller, excellent. Excellent, and you only get one picture, and it's pretty dark here. Now this one will be one of them that I believe on the other side that you can't see is going to have the bolt that goes in and locks those two together, or squeezes those two halves together. Bushing, of course, is going to have to be changed. It looks like you got quite a bit of patina, we'll call it, up here on the top end. Looks like the bore is pretty dark in there too. You know, it's not worth 149 bucks. It's worth half. It's worth half. Half. It says excellent. Let's read the description. Excellent. It doesn't say it's excellent in the description, but in the title it's excellent. This is one of the ones I noticed, not because it's a good buy, because I think it's overpriced, although there is one thing that makes it worth looking at. There's an Atlas Clothing 1614 W68 cross slide table, 7x7 by Y milling drill press, pre-owned, $250 with no bids. It's on an auction, and $61.51. Now this, in this condition, this whole assembly, before I even look at it, and I looked at it the other day, but before I even really look at it closer, I'm gonna off the top of my head say it's worth half. 150 bucks, and maybe $40 shipping. It's not worth $61.51 shipping. But anyway, the thing I wanted to look at with this, see what the description says. Mouse causing the drill press. Everything moves as it should. A lot of life left in the gibs and a little wear in the lead screw, nut and ways. So it's worn, used and abused. Let's just look at the big pictures of this. There's only there's only one thing that really intrigues me. Handles are rusted on this, you know, or they're screwed up. The whole thing's been, the table's pitted. We got several pictures to look at here. Got a hunk out of the table here, been drilled here. Who knows what it looks like underneath the vise. Now, the thing that is interesting about this is it has one of the vices, and this is an original Atlas vise. I believe on this back jaw, I don't remember there being a jaw on the inside, which you could put it. It's missing the clamp down jaw that goes right here. And let's go through and look at the rest of these pictures, just see if there's anything that, yeah, this handle's all pitted out, and you know, this has been stored wet. It's rusty through here. This is a piece of crap. Yeah, that's ugly. That's ugly. These handles are gone. You know, I mean, they're going to be functional, but the plating's gone off, and this has been stored wet. That's all pitted on the dial. Yeah, been stored wet for a long time. That's a piece of crap. Been drilled several places. It's etched on the top. It's rusted pretty bad. Okay, this is a pretty good picture of the, yeah, I got several little pock marks and everything. I mean, this is functional on your drill press, but this is not worth 250 bucks. This is worth 150. 150. Okay, let's go back and look at that vise. Yeah, this was just a flat jaw. on here, and I have one of these, so you know, there was originally a jaw which matched the profile. Your jaw was this, but it has two pins that stick out the back side of it, and they engage in those, and those are the guide pins that go in there, and then your tension is adjusted on it, or the vise is locked closed by tightening these Allen screws on the outside, and they essentially press through and force the vise jaws forward. So that's what that is. It's a neat little set of jaws. You don't see them a whole awful lot, and like this one, it's missing half of them, which this would not be a big thing to build. Like I say, all it is a flat plate, and it's got two pins drilled into it that were, I believe they were a press fit in it. I'll have to go back and look, but I believe they were a press fit in there, and then a sliding fit in the bores there. Now these bores are going to be corroded up. They're going to be crap. But anyway, that's what I found interesting about that. And that's all that was really worth looking at here. And very quickly, let's look at lays, because I think there's a couple of things under lays. Switches. We won't even go back there. Here's a vintage Atlas metal lathe nameplate label, 1 3/16 by 5 3/4, pre-owned, $11.99 and $3.50. I'm not going to go in and look at this, but you know, I can't really place these labels. I think these were probably used on, I'm going to say, the woodworking machines, some of the woodworking machines. These I don't believe you normally will see on the metalworking machines, or maybe they are on the later clausing commercials, maybe what that fits on. But as far as the smaller 10 and 12 inch and the 6 inch and the mill and the shaper, this is not the badge that goes on there. You know, if you want an original badge, that's probably not a bad price, but I believe that might be the commercial, for only commercial machines. And do we have anything else worth looking at here? I don't really know that there is. There's some stuff, but nothing that matters. Just as an aside, and this is where you need to do your shopping, and don't get caught up in Fleabay. You can find these same buys, these same items for a better price from other sellers, whether it's Shars, whether it's All Industrial, any of the industrial, and Shars doesn't sponsor me or anything, but I've been relatively happy with the tooling that I've gotten from them recently. You know, I think they're doing a fairly decent job. They seem to have some stuff in stock, and it's reasonably priced. So I've been doing a little bit more with Shars. Like I say, they don't sponsor me in any way, shape, or form, other than they ship my product fairly promptly, and I get it, and I feel I haven't been hurt too awful bad. So there are things like Atlas Craftsman Dunlop Atlas 109 lathe, 3-inch self-centering 3-jet chuck, half 20, brand new. This is some imported chuck, and I'm not even going to look at these. This is an imported chuck with a back plate that fits. Now, whether, you know, this is that seller that sells a lot of new and used stuff, whether he's building the backing plates, whether he's having the backing plates built, whatever the case may be. The chuck itself, the jaws and the chuck key, and like I say, I'm not going to go look at these, but these are readily available imported parts, and then the backing plate, and he wants $189.99 and $14 shipping. You know, this is probably a $89 chuck, I'm guessing, and the back plate, you're going to set it up on your lathe, no matter what lathe it is, and you're going to face off the back plate anyway to true it up. So, you know, for $120, why, you can do it. And backplate wise, on this small little lathe, like on the 109s, which this is the Dunlop, this is not an Atlas by any means, with this half 20, you can turn your backplate out of whatever you want. It can be mild steel, it can be a plate that you can turn. You know, there's no rocket science there. You know, to use what you've got and find you a piece of material and set it up there, and there you go. Same way, a complete collet chuck set, half 20 by 12. Now it's got a half 20 collet nose for it, and it's got an assortment of collets and the wrench. And these are imported. These are not USA made. This is just imported stuff. $169.99. You know, I mean, I don't know what they're going for, but for these, I'm not sure which ER set this is. This is 16. Yeah, not even saying what collet set this is. Let's Let's see, new collet chuck for the Atlas Craftsman Dunlop 109 model lathes. Collet chuck with wrench, has half 20 threaded mount. Comes with 12 collets from 1/32 to 3/8. Picture shows 10 collets, but only comes with 12. That doesn't make anyway. Probably an ER16, I'm guessing. You know, I don't know. I don't follow collet chucks that much. And it doesn't say, but these are brand new imports. You know, look and see what these are actually going for. You're going to find a better buy someplace else. Now this one's a little bit misleading, and I think this is the last one I'm going to look at, but we will go look at this. This is a little misleading until you really get to reading it. 6-inch, 6/18 Atlas Craftsman lathe, 4-jaw independent chuck, 1-inch 8 TPI, excellent, pre-owned. $275 or best offer and $20 shipping. Now this is a good looking chuck. I've looked at the pictures on this, and this is from a seller that will part out these machines, and excellent condition, excellent. No slop in the jaws. I do not have a key. I just use my Allen key, 4-inch diameter. See, this gives the impression that this is a 6-inch chuck, but it fits the 6-inch 6/18. This is actually only 4-inch chuck, and this is the exact 4-inch chuck that I have out there. This is the same design as the chuck I have out there, and when I get that far and have a little extra time, we're gonna build one of these chucks, because these are not rocket science here. And we'll just look at the big pictures and see what we got. This is a good looking chuck. This is pretty clean, although it has been cleaned up. The screws aren't all chewed up here. It's not completely full of crap down here in the threads. Got a little bit of a roll right there. Looks like maybe that's just a countersink, but anyway, this is a good looking chuck, but it in no way is worth $275. You know, this is no. There it is, disassembled with the jaws out of it. Now this looks a little yucky there, but this has obviously been cleaned up just from looking at it. I think when you look at the sides of it, you can see a little patina on the sides of it in the last picture. It's a good looking chuck, but it's a 4-inch chuck. It's, you know, even in this condition, it's worth $100 at the outside. $100. This is the way they, rather than having the screws integral on the bottom, it just floats in these slots. So the only place that these Allen screws engage, and that's basically what they are, as an Allen screw. They engage in the threads in the chuck body, and then the jaws just float on top. And where it's a 4-jaw chuck, it's you know, it's not that precision. There's your adjustment screws. Yeah, you can see a little bit of markings there on the edges. That it has been used. You know, I mean, I think it's a good chuck. I think it's a very nice chuck, but there again, it's not worth $275. To me, this looks like there's quite a bit of patina on the outer edge and here on the sides. So I tend to believe this has been around. I think the face has been cleaned up quite a bit. Nice chuck, but it's worth $100. So don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. And that's all we got. There's some other stuff on here that we could look at. Part of the stuff we've talked about before. You know, part of it's not even worth talking about. So I'm not seeing anything that's really exceptionally worth having here at all on Fleabay this week. So a few things that stood out, but that's about it. So anyway, hopefully you find that a little bit useful. Comments, suggestions, leave in the comment section for me below. If you have not hit that subscribe button and this interests you, I'd appreciate it if you would. You'll get to listen to all my foolishness as time goes on. We got several other things we're working on, and I have to go to work today. So enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of the week, and as always, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch.